OSCE, Objective Structured Clinical Examination. Hi friends, probably you are here because you are worried about your OSCE exam and you wanted to prepare ahead of time. You are looking for resources online to see what would be the process and how would be the exam and what are the questions. Am I right? I'm here to help you friends. Welcome to my video. My name is Jancy Bruno. I'm a qualified nurse in India, in UAE, and here in the UK. All glory and praise to God who made me what I am today. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not intending to get many subscribers. But if my video is going to help at least one person to overcome their fears and anxiety about the OSCE and to become a great RN here in the UK, then the purpose of this video is met. Alright, in this video I'm gonna share my thoughts and tips in preparing for OSCE. However, I have my own limitations in sharing with you guys what exactly happened during my examination, like what was my case scenario, or what are the skills I have performed, what were the questions asked to me. Those things I am not able to share, unfortunately. But because I have signed a confidential form with the exam center before I took the exam, that's the reason I'm not able to share with you guys those things, okay? But I'm definitely able to share with you guys my overview about OSCE, because I don't want you guys to have the same sort of fears or anxiety which I had when I took the exam. The reason behind creating this video is just that, okay? And let me first of all tell you guys that worrying about OSCE is not gonna make you pass the exam. And OSCE is an entry level exam, okay? And above all, we all are great nurses. We've been working in our country. We have adequate knowledge about nursing and we have our clinical experience within our specialities. However, there are certain things which you need to unlearn and relearn when you come to UK because of the differences in the healthcare system. Got it? And OSCE is a part of your NMC registration process for the nurses and midwives who are trained outside the European Union, and it's a practical examination, okay? It is designed to test your clinical performances and your competence in skills, okay? But again, it's an entry level exam, and the examiners within the test centers, they are there to test what you exactly know. They are not there to test you what you do not know. So please don't worry guys, things are going to be fine. Guys, there is always a perfect time for everything. Believe in that. When you come to UK, you will be given enough time and resources to review for the OSCE exam. And there are many trusts who provides a specific OSCE training program for their international recruits. And I was lucky enough to have a fabulous group of trainers who helped me to prepare for the OSCE in 1 week time, because our case was different. I will tell you guys in maybe in the next video. Anyways, what I wanted to say is your trainers will help you to know more about OSCE, and there will be reasonable time for you to review it. All right. Also, the testing centers will be giving you resources once you are booked for the exam, and they will be sending an email with an access. You can go to their library online and see how the exam is going to be. They will also give you marking criteria on how they are going to assess you and how they are going to score you. However, the experience you have in first few weeks in hospital is vital for your success in the OSCE. A well-structured induction and socializing period is critical. My first tip to pass OSCE exam is practice. That's the key. I will never get tired of saying this word. You heard that right. Practice, practice, practice. Because memorizing is just not enough. Memorizing is in your mind and your mind is in a calm state. But when you go for the real exam, it is going to be nerve wracking. And sometimes you may not be able to think clearly because you are stressed. Okay, it may not be the case for everybody, but mostly people will be stressed and they will not be able to think clearly. But if you have practiced enough, what's going to happen, that becomes your habit, and when you are there for your exam, it comes so spontaneously for you. That is the muscle memory which is acting for you. All right, so that is the thing I'm telling you guys, practice is the key. So what I am going to do is I'm going to create two videos. In this video, I'm going to explain you what are the things you can do from the first day in your hospital in preparation to passing the OSCE and to become a qualified nurse who can provide safe nursing care to the patients. Okay, and in my second video I'll be giving you all the tips, whatever I know. I have my, I'm not a perfect person, but what are the things which help me to pass the OSCE, or how I prepared for OSCE, I will be sharing you in my second video. Guys, when you come to UK during the first week, the hospital or the trust will give you an induction program. It's a systematic training which will enable you to get familiar with the policies and procedures of that organization. And please pay attention to all the topics which are discussed and ask questions if you are in doubt, because you are in a new country, and if you are in doubt, make use of that opportunity to ask questions and clear the things. And they will be giving you several forms. Please go through all the forms, and among all the forms I want you to choose few forms and get well familiar with those forms. They are: number one, the news chart, that is National Early Warning Score, wherein you will document all the patient's observation. Okay, and the number two is must, malnutrition universal screening tool. You might have studied this one when you have done your CBT exam. This is the form we use to assess the nutritional status of our patient. And number three is the PHQ, patient health questionnaire. And number four is the neuro observation chart, where you will document the Glasgow Coma Scale and other neurological observations. Number five is the inpatient prescription chart. Back in our home country, we call it as medication chart. And the last one is the fluid balance chart. These are the documentation, you are like, you will be getting for your OSCE as well. So please get familiar with these forms. And if you can't get this from the training centers, you please ask your ward managers whether you can have it for the training purposes. They will be able to help you. Okay, learn more about each forms and why they have been used, and start practicing on how to record in these forms. It may sound very simple for you, but documentation is very critical marking criteria in OSCE exam. So please get familiar with these forms. All right, the next point I would like to emphasize is communication. I know all of you guys have passed your IELTS and OET exam. Even then, when you are new in the UK, it's a bit difficult to understand a native speaker. So my advice is, the more you communicate and listen, the better you get the language. So please make use of every opportunity you get to interact with your patients, and that will ultimately improve your communication skills in English. Okay? And lastly, when you are in the ward, you can start your actual preparation for OSCE. And believe me, friends, if you begin to focus and practice the following things, which I am going to discuss with you shortly, on the day of your exam, it will become so natural for you to show your examiner that you are a nurse who is able to provide a safe nursing care for a patient. Okay, during OSCE and in your real practice, the following steps are very mandatory, especially when you are dealing with a patient. Okay, the steps which I am going to explain may sound very familiar for the nurses who are already having enough bedside experience or experience in different hospitals in different countries. But I believe my audience is going to be a mixed group. I am also focusing on newly qualified nurses, so please pay attention. All right. So the first one is hand hygiene, the most powerful tool for infection control. The second one is checking for scene safety. The third one is providing privacy and dignity for your patients. And the fourth one is introducing yourself to your patients and gaining consent for every interventions. Fifth one is identifying your patient correctly. And sixth one is check for any allergies. Seventh one is checking patients for comfort. And the last one is assessing your patient for any pain. These are very important in every stations of OSCE when you are caring for a patient and even in your real life. Okay, these are the safe checks. So please put these things into practice from today in your clinical areas wherever you are practicing, so that it become your habit to perform, a safe nursing care. Now let me elaborate on each point. First one is hand hygiene. So as you all know, regular and effective hand hygiene is the single most thing you can do to protect yourself and others from infections. And the effective way of doing hand hygiene is following 7 steps. Whether you are washing your hands or whether you are using alcohol hand rub, make sure you follow the 7 steps. That is the safe way of doing things. So say it in your mind, I am gelling my hands with alcohol hand gel, following the 7 steps. Palm to palm, back of the palm, fingers interlaced, fingers interlocked, rotational rubbing of the fingers, rotational rubbing of the thumb, rotational rubbing of the wrist. So this is the 7 steps. So every time before approaching your patients or after giving care, after, so you know the 7 moments of hand hygiene. So you have to follow this hand hygiene using the 7 steps. That is the important point. The 7 steps. Don't forget the 7 step. Make it a practice. And the second point is what we were saying is checking for scene safety. Patient safety is the cornerstone for a high quality health care. It is your responsibility as a nurse to make sure your patient's environment is safe. So you have to look for any scenes, you have to look for the scene safety to prevent any slips, trips or falls for yourself and your patient. So after hand hygiene, before approaching your patients, you have to look around and make sure and say it in your mind these things, okay, so that it becomes a habit. Say it in your mind, I am in my patient's room, I am looking for the scene safety. There is no loose wires, there is no water spillage, there is no hazardous materials. So the scene is safe for me to approach my patient. So these things you have to say it in your mind so that it become automatically a practice for you to do these things in your real practice. All right. The third thing is providing privacy and dignity. Providing privacy and dignity will promote effective communication between the healthcare professionals and the patients. So when you are approaching your patient, you can ask them, is it all right, I can close the curtain or the doors to provide privacy for you. Okay, so you have to begin your care by saying that. The next point is introducing yourself to your patients and gaining consent for any procedures. So when you are with your patients, it is important, as this is the therapeutic nurse-patient relationship. That is the basic of therapeutic nurse-patient relationship. And it is fundamental to healthcare that patient receiving care or treatment agrees to receive it. Okay, so when you are with your patients, for example, if I am with my patient at bedside giving the care, I would say, I am Jancy Bruno, I will be the staff nurse looking after you this morning. I am here to do a set of observation on you. Is it a good time to do that? Are you all right for me to do? So you have introduced yourself, at the same time you have told them the purpose you visited them. Okay, so this is how you have to inform and gain consent. All right. Moving to the next point is identifying your patient correctly. It is potentially saves life. So here in the UK, we do the three-way check. We check for the patient's full name and we check for patient's date of birth and NHS number. So if the patient is conscious and oriented, you have to ask for patient full name. And you will be having your case note. You can check in the one as the patient says their full name. You have to ask the date of birth. You have to check the same details. And the patients will be wearing an ID band. So you have to ask consent from the patient. Is it all right for you that if I check your ID bands? And you have to check the three things: the patient full name, date of birth and NHS number. So the details you have to make sure that it is same everywhere. All right. And one more important thing I want to mention here is it is a practice here in the UK that after checking the patient's details, you have to ask for their name preference. Okay, that was not there in our country, so we don't have that practice. But here in the UK, we do have a practice of that. So that is one of your marking criteria in OSCE. So make sure that you practice it from today. For example, if the patient name is Jancy Bruno, but she likes to be called Mary. Okay, so after you checking all the details, you have to ask Jancy, what would you like me to call you? So Jancy will say Mary. So once Jancy said she likes to be called Mary, then from there on, you should not call her Jancy. Instead, you should call her Mary. Okay, that is the practice here. So begin to practice from today so that it will become automatically, it will come to your mind when you are there for the actual exam, and that is a safe practice, and that is the practice which you should follow. All right, coming to the next point is checking for patient allergic status, including drug, food and any materials. Okay, because it will prevent any adverse drug reaction and any other allergic reactions that will ultimately improve the patient's health care. Okay, so you have to make sure you ask your patients, do you have any allergies? And if they say they have an allergy, here in the UK, we used to put the patient with an red allergy ID band with the allergy mentioned there. So after your patient said they are allergic to something, it is your responsibility that you physically check whether they have an allergy ID band with the same allergy mentioned there. And if they don't have an allergy ID band, even if they're having an allergy, then it is your responsibility to go back to the nursing station and inform the concerned doctor about the patient's allergy and get the allergy status updated. And you have to make sure that you bring an allergic ID band and make the patient wear that one. Okay, so that is a safe practice. Next one is checking for patient comfort. Making our patient comfortable is a priority because that boosts patient satisfaction, improves outcome, and that is the right thing to do. Okay, so before you begin any procedures, you have to ask your patient, are you comfortable for me to proceed? Do you want me to adjust your bed? Do you need any help to change your position? Or would you like to use the toilet before I begin because the procedure might take some time? So, in whatever way you can make your patient comfortable before you are doing any procedures, please do so. Okay. And the last point, but the most important point, is assessing your patient for any pain. It is very mandatory for all healthcare professionals to be able to complete an accurate pain assessment, okay, and to implement successful pain management strategies. So here in the UK, we are using the numeric pain scale to as a pain assessment tool for conscious patients. So before you do any procedures, you have to ask, are you in any pain? You have to ask your patients. And if the patient says they are in pain or he or she is in pain, then you have to ask them to score their pain using this numeric pain scale. And based on the pain score, you have to address the pain as per the policy. Got it? I hope all these points are clear for you and you will begin to practice these things from today. That's all, guys, I have to say about the pre-preparation of OSCE while you are in the ward. Hope to see you all soon in the next video where I will be talking about all the tips to pass your OSCE on your first attempt. Okay? Before I say goodbye to you, I would like to say a prayer for you. Please close your eyes. Lord, we thank you for who we are and what we have today. Bless all those who are watching this video. Help them to overcome their fears and anxiety. Grant them your wisdom and knowledge to prepare well and pass this exam. In God's name we pray. Amen.